I'm allowed to ask questions, all right? It's because I'm your father, and I care about you.
Well, I have a question for you.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, what is it?
But hold on, I'm thinking.
Seriously? You don't even have a question. You're just trying to hassle me with this. This is ridiculous.
Why aren't you this hard on James? You never told James what he could or couldn't wear. You never cared who he hung out with. I'm sure some of his friends had motorcycles and tattoos.
You and your brother have always had the same rules.
James is only a couple of years older, and by the time he was my age, he went to parties and he already had 2 girlfriends.
That's different.
How is that different? What, because I'm a girl? I need to be taken care of and looked after? Since boys are so dangerous and easily distracted? Well, maybe instead of protecting women, we should teach men how to properly behave. Tell me, Dad, how is it different?
Because you're my daughter. You're my baby girl. I understand your point, but unfortunately, the rest of the world isn't there yet, so my apologies for wanting to keep you safe. Nonetheless, you and James have always been so different. When he was your age, he'd already been accepted to 3 universities and was on the honor rolls at school. James was easy. He never cried. He was the first in class to learn to read. But you are special. Just 10 years ago, you refused to go anywhere without wearing a princess dress, and all you ever wanted to eat was mac and cheese. I remember the day you were born. It was life-changing. I felt like finally, for the first time, I understood what it meant to be a father, to protect someone and care for someone as much as I do. Growing up, you were never the smartest, but you were so happy and adventurous. You never cared about what others thought. You always did your own thing, and now you're older, and you have opinions and dreams of your own, and now you're all grown up, and you don't need me anymore.
Well, I kind of need you to pay for my acting classes. Look, I get it, Dad. I know you care about me deeply, but it's time you let go a little. And I understand how crazy this all sounds, but I just feel like acting is something I need to do, or at least try. But I can't do it without your support.
I will try my best to give you space, but I will always be here if you need me, because you're my child and I care about you. I might not like or agree with this whole acting thing, but it's really what you want to do, then I will help you, and I will support you in any way I can.
This is what I want, Dad. Like, I know it will be a challenge, and I'm aware people are going to judge me and criticize me, but this is what I want.
Okay, then. I'm here for whatever you need.
Thank you.
I understand that you're older now, and I should give you space to do what you want. It's just tough because I love you, and I want the best for you.
I know, Dad. I love you too.
You'll forever be my baby.
Good night, Dad.
Exit Emma. Frank sits back on the couch, flicks back on the TV. End of play.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anne Lukowski, and I'm the writer for Time to Rest. It's a play about an old man taking care of his wife, and he's kind of contemplating what his life really means. So, hope you enjoy.
Scene 1. A single chair is set at the center front of the stage. Behind it, simple little kitchenette with a decorated dining room table. Gregory Milton enters, back arched with age and fatigue. He reaches the chair in the middle of the stage and sits exhausted.
I have to wake up at 7 every single morning. Not of my own will, of course. I'm 78 years old. I'm considered an old man at this point. If I could, I'd sleep all day and be fed smoothies for the rest of my life, but I have responsibilities.
Looks at his watch. Meredith walks on in her bathrobe. She pours herself hot water and makes tea. She sits at the table.
Her first dose of thiamine needs to be taken with breakfast. 50 milligrams. I usually have to wake her up for this. Ever since I've known her, she's never been easy to wake up. She slept like a dog most nights. She still does. Which just makes it even harder. You see, Meredith, my wife, was diagnosed with amnesia about 2 years ago. She forgets small things during the day, but it's always worse whenever she wakes up from a deep sleep.
Slowly, he makes his way to the dining room table where Meredith is sitting.
So she forgets about me. She forgets who I am, and it sends her into a panic. Not that I blame her. Seeing a stranger in your bed first thing in the morning must be terrifying. She cries or fights and scratches and bites and pushes me off the bed sometimes, but in other instances, she'll laugh. She'll laugh as if we were 30 again. Oh, how I miss that laugh. It's heartbreaking to say, but I can't let her laugh like we used to. It makes her heart accelerate. It's already a problem she has to deal with, so it would just make it worse.
Meredith Milton enters, wraps her arms around her husband, and gives him a kiss.
Good morning, my lovely husband. How did you sleep?
Gregory rolls his sleeve up, showing scratches and bite marks on his arms.
Great, darling. I slept great. She doesn't remember a thing. Amnesia and heart arrhythmia. More specifically, tachycardia. That's what she's suffering from. Her heart beats too fast, and she can't even remember it. It's a burden she has to live with. It's what I live with. But I'm a man of my word. I meant it when I promised to stay by her side through sickness and health, until death do us part. Even though I made this promise, oh, how long has it been? 50-something years ago?
Would you like some soup for lunch, my darling?
Soup sounds great. And then comes lunchtime, her first dose of Paraquat of the day. That's medicine prescribed for her heart. 400 milligrams per 24 hours. We start with 200 at noon and 200 more before bed.
Meredith puts veggies in a giant pot, stirs.
It was the easiest way I found to include those into her routine. Whenever she forgets about her heart, I have to hide the drugs in whatever she's eating or dissolve it into her drink. I can't deal with the emotional breakdown. Not anymore.
Meredith serves 2 bowls of soup.
Thank you, my dear.
Well, of course, I thought making a sandwich would be good, but we ran out of bread. It's strange because I thought I got some last week to put in the freezer. Oh, by the way, did you go grocery shopping yesterday? There's some tomatoes and pork in the fridge. I don't remember buying those on Monday. Did you plan on making dinner tonight?
Oh, yes. Is that an issue?
What? No, not at all. I was just wondering.
A healthy diet. One of the most important factors of her treatment, according to Dr. Davidson. Ever since we retired, it's become a habit that Meredith makes us soup for lunch. She knows I don't mind it at all, but she still asks every time, just to make sure. I don't want to disturb that routine. It's the only reason I let her cook for lunch, actually. I try to find excuses to take care of dinner. She used to have this bad habit of skipping dinner and making cereal her whole meal for the night when she was too tired to cook. More often than not, she offers her help, which is nice, but it's still a lot of work.
Are you okay, my dear? Did you sleep at all last night?
Yes. Yes, why do you ask?
You look tired. Maybe you should take a short rest. I can take care of dinner if you'd like.
No, I'm all right. I'll take care of it.
Are you sure? Believe me, it's no issue. If you're tired, you should...
I said I'll take care of it.
Okay. All right. I trust you.
I wish I could say I never raise my voice. That I'm patient, I really do. I mean, I love my wife more than anything. She's my everything. But you have no idea what this is like. I'm growing weak. I'm exhausted, tired, worn out, spent, or fatigued. Call it what you like. I feel like I'm a dead man walking.
Gregory stands and walks over to Meredith. Gently, he takes her hand.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my voice. I'll take care of dinner. Don't worry about me. I'm okay.
All right. Well, we're going to bed early tonight, okay?
All right.
Meredith smiles. Suddenly, she loses her balance and falls near the counter.
Meredith!
As she falls, the lights go down.
Meredith!
Scene 2. Lights up. Gregory is sitting in a chair beside his wife, who is lying on a white-covered bed. There is a heart monitor echoing loudly, and we can hear an oxygen pump. He's petting her hand, his eyes closed. Enter Dr. Davidson.
Gregory Milton? Mr. Milton?
Oh, hi. Yes. Sorry, I didn't hear you come in.
How are you doing? It's been a while since we've seen you.
We didn't have a reason to come.
According to our records, it's been 8 months since your last visit.
I just told you we didn't have a reason to come here. She was fine, well, and healthy. I was taking good care of her.
And what about you, Mr. Milton?
What about me?
You didn't attend to your appointments like we discussed the last time we talked on the phone.
I didn't need to. The pills are working.
Are you taking them accordingly?
Yes.
When was the last refill of your medication, Mr. Milton? I see. At your age, it is time to cut off your diabetic medicine.
This isn't about me.
The heart monitor accelerates.
My wife is the one in the hospital bed right now. I'll be fine. I've been living with this for years. I can manage.
All right. How did Meredith fall today? Did she hit her head?
We'd just finished lunch. I raised my voice, and she probably stood up too fast and got dizzy. She was still partially conscious when she fell, so I think she cushioned her fall. I panicked, so I called an ambulance. I wasn't thinking. We don't need to be here.
Mr. Milton, your wife's heart rate was over 120 BPM when the paramedics picked her up.
So? Isn't that what tachycardia is supposed to be?
Has she been taking her medication properly?
Yes, of course. I make sure of it.
Was she reevaluated for her dosage of Pacerone in the last 6 months? Right. She'll need to be tested again so we can confirm her dosage is right. She is currently at 400 milligrams per day, correct?
Yes.
Has she lost consciousness or had moments of weakness before today?
Yes! Yes, of course she has. You know what tachycardia is. You know her heart is overworking itself. You know all of this. It happens all the time. Why are you questioning me so much?
I'm simply going through the legal procedures, Mr. Milton.
Right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Listen,
The results of her ECG are unnaturally high. Even now, as she's unconscious, she's under heavy medication just so we can keep her heart stable.
When can we go home?
Home? You can't just go home.
Yes, home, where my wife and I belong. Not in this godforsaken building, away from the sick and dying. When?
Mr. Milton, your wife is in no condition to go back home. The only machines are...
No! She's fine. She's strong. She'll be out of here soon. She can make it. She's coming home with me, right, darling?
Exit Dr. Davidson. Gregory goes back and stands by his wife and takes her hand.
You're going to make it, dear. I know you will. We've been through so much together. You can get through this too. I did everything perfectly, to the letter. 50 milligrams of thiamine twice a day for your tachycardia. 200 milligrams of pacerone twice a day for the amnesia. A healthy diet for the heart, including oatmeal and non-caffeinated green tea, avocados, tomatoes, and dark chocolate. That was your favorite. I swear to you, Meredith, I did everything I could. You have to believe me. I did.
He kneels.
What should I do? What can I do? The only reason I survived Mother's death was because of you. Because your family took me in. They nourished my frail body and kept me warm in the winter. You were so young back then. I doubt you even remember the first day your father found me on the street. You were sleeping in your mother's arms, all warm and safe. I beg you, dearest, don't leave me. Please. I can't lose you too.
The heart monitor begins to accelerate. Gregory puts his right hand on his left shoulder, his features creasing in pain. The lights dim and a single light is upon Gregory. The heart rate monitor flatlines.
Maybe it's my turn to rest.
Slow fade, end of play.
Hi, thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Cordell Blunden, and my play is titled Talking Heads. It's about a hunter who disobeys an indigenous hunting ban. That's it.
Drums blare in the background. A large mass of deer skin is stretched out to dry. A light illuminates it, allowing the silhouette of a man to show through. Wrenched in silence, heaving and grabbing his stomach in pain. The deer carcass hangs from the ceiling as David, inebriated in a plaid shirt and overalls, prepares his latest catch. The basement is dark and damp. Blood covers the floor and David.
Is coming in with a special report from the municipal government. In respect to the indigenous Mohican tradition, absolutely no hunting will be tolerated between October 1st and...
David changes the channel in annoyance.
Yeah, right.
He puts a cigarette out on the side of the hanging deer carcass. His wife, blue plaid shirt and jeans, walks halfway down the stairs just out of view of David.
David, what are you doing down there?
Nothing, Maribel. Go to bed. I'll be up soon.
He sips his beer and continues skinning the duck.
What about your dinner?
I'll have it later.
You're not drinking, are you?
No, Maribel.
Oh, and David?
God help me, what?
I think Musty got outside. Could you make sure he's back in before you come up?
Yes, I'll make sure Musty is back inside before I come up. Now go to bed.
Please tell me you're not doing what I think you are. You know there is a ban, right?
Yeah, well, bands don't pay the bills.
Mirabelle's footsteps can be heard stomping up the stairs. He walks over to the fridge, cracks another beer, and chugs nearly half the can, sits down and continues skinning the buck. Act 2, country music begins to fade in and out amidst staticky intervals.
The Mohican tribes have protected these lands long before anyone else. Their stories and beliefs uphold a unique history to this country, and their traditions should be respected.
He's fiddling with the dial.
Ending with the tribe claiming bad blood. A brief history of the conflict includes many dead, as well as a supposed curse that is still to be uplifted. Oh, spooky stuff, Dave.
Dave throws his butcher knife onto the ground.
God damn it. You've got to be kidding
He
me.
approaches the radio, spins the dial to switch the channel, but nothing is happening. He smacks the radio.
Fines will be issued if anyone is caught in violation. Hunting will only be permitted between the months of...
Enough!
He smashes the radio on the ground. The fragments of what was the radio switch back on.
So if you want that catch, you're going to have to wait until next season, folks, or run the risk of being slaughtered yourself.
What the hell?
He stares in confusion. He hears something behind him. It's the deer carcass. Its spine jerks as it rattles itself back and forth and glares at David.
Still not dead, huh?
The deer turns its head to him.
Quite the opposite.
What the hell? Maribel? Maribel?
He grabs a shotgun, tries to fire at the deer corpse. His gun jams.
She cannot hear you.
Ah! How are you? I don't understand.
You never have, David.
How the hell do you know my name? Who are you?
I am the wind, the trees, and all of the life that exists in between.
This can't be real. I just pulled your goddamn heart out.
You have spent a great deal of time ignoring your instincts.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to make a living here.
I was once a man like you. I had the pleasure of walking the earth. I took for granted the air I breathed, the dirt beneath my feet.
I've lived off the land my entire life.
I was also murdered by a man like you. A seed trying to grow where life is already flourishing. I had taken from me what I held closest, from a force I could not see coming. They took everything from me. I called this land home before you, far before you were able to poach it of its life. You are death, David. You are a disease that infects this land.
What? I don't understand.
Yes, but I can fix that.
Fix what?
What if I took what you held closest? What would you do then?
Please, don't hurt me.
You are a pathetic man. I want you to reach inside me.
What? You want me to do what?
I have something for you. Reach inside me and pull it out.
I'm not touching you anymore.
Reach inside me. Put your hand in and reach for what you hold closest.
No, I can't.
The room is illuminated with a red tinge.
Do it! Reach inside me.
He reaches inside.
Yes, reach in. I have something for you.
His hand slides into the exposed rib cage, into the abyss which is the deer's chest cavity.
What the?
He pulls out the cat, Musty, from the deer's carcass, covered in blood.
Musty. What have you done to Musty?
Oh, David.
Please, stop this. What do you want me to do? What should I do?
It may be too late for redemption. Your time may have passed.
What? No, tell me. Please, I'll do anything you say.
I have watched you for longer than you would believe. I have watched you make a life of your own amongst the very ground I once called home. I have watched you desecrate this land with your negligence and your arrogance. I will watch it no more.
It can't be too late. I'm losing my mind. I'm talking to a deer carcass, and I'm losing my mind.
Such a fate would be preferred by most. I have something else for you.
Just tell me where to begin. I will do anything.
I want you to close your eyes, David. I want you to close your eyes and think of what you love most. Think. Tell me what you hold closest.
I won't say it.
You already have, David.
Act 3, lights fade, and then come up. David is holding a lantern, struggling for matches, his face illuminated.
Jesus Christ. Where the hell is the light?
He maneuvers around in the dark, making his way towards a light switch, turning it on. He turns around. It is not the deer's carcass hanging. It is his wife, Maribel, butchered.
Maribel. Maribel!
He rushes over, falls to his knees.
Maribel. I'm sorry.
The smashed radio turns back on, this time playing country music. Lights fade, end of play.
Hi, my name's Amy Corcoran, and my play is called The Gull. So I used to live in a historically medieval city on the coast in Europe. So I spent a lot of time watching seabirds and thinking about what kingdoms would still be around if their rulers had listened to insight instead of their own arrogance. So my play kind of looks at what would happen if an arrogant king kind of took a different perspective and what would happen to his kingdom and his death.
Scene 1. Enter the councilman.
It would be I, to set the stage, a servant who sees all. The land you see is not one you know. The story you hear will ring the bell of familiarity, but yet it does not belong to you. Just as death is not the end, it is an agreement. Those not bound to death, their soul will remain. This is an end for the weak. It is not a path for the great ones. Such is a path our people follow. It is more different between a father and son who live on raised platforms.
Spotlight on the king and the prince.
All eyes on them. They too must abide by death's rule. If they choose not, their gilded rule is exchanged for that of a crown of thorns. Rule to ridicule. But remember this, where death is final for you, it is something completely different for us.
Scene 2. Lights come up, and we see the king standing in front of the queen's grave marker. The young prince, his son, stands beside him.
We strive for excellence. We strive for perfection. We strive for the unattainable. We strive for answers. We strive for happiness, for fulfillment, for something we can only feel in the depths of our souls, for something we will never find, for something that does not exist. We strive to feel complete, but complete does not exist. It does not and cannot exist for our kind. The search is what keeps us going. It keeps our internal engines fueled, and it keeps our minds sharp. It is our salvation and our keeper. There will never be peace. There will only be a need for more, an insatiable hunger. This is our curse. The only freedom from curse is death, but even in death, we know not what comes next. It could be an end, but it could be a continuation, or it could be something else. The idea of peace is a dream, not meant for the living, but a hope for the dead, but never a guarantee or a promise, just a hope. Do not forget, because forgetting makes you a fool, and we cannot be foolish.
Scene 3. As lights come up, we see the king and the prince sitting at a grand table. The king is looking over papers. The son watches his father.
Father, tomorrow marks 15 years.
Yes?
I wondered if we were meant to do something to show our respects for her line.
Your existence is our sign of respect. You growing into a strong leader is our respect. And one day when you sire children of your own, that will be respect. Anything more beyond our duty is frivolous and unnecessary.
Scene 4. The prince stands near his mother's headstone.
I'm not meant to be here. My existence is somehow enough. I was young when you passed, but how I remember you and miss you. I wish there were another. I don't believe I'm meant for this path. I do not know how to strive for more. I feel like a bronze statue, well enough to look at and admire, but utterly useless. I am simply a paperweight.
The prince looks in the distance. Behind him, a child walks on stage. The child is ghostly pale in appearance, and their clothing faded.
Hello.
Who are you? Why are you here? None are allowed here except for those sharing the bloodline.
I am the other, the one you spoke of, your brother. I wasn't given time, for it escaped my lungs, and I lay here now, unmarked. But my blood that became one with the soil is the same, which runs through your veins.
The other that I spoke of, blood the same which runs through my veins? A sibling, unknown to me, but our features identical at that age. No longer with us, comes as a manifestation, a ghost. On this day, I believe you for some reason. Perhaps it is my emotions playing tricks on me. Perhaps I have fallen victim to a sickness of the mind, but perhaps you are as you say you are. For today is important.
Your uncertainty stems from more than just believing me to be who I say I am. It is rooted in your soul, which it cannot be. You must strive for more. You must be certain about a whole number of things. If you do not, your time will be short and unyielding.
You are a child, yet you are wiser than I.
My soul wanders the earth. I was not bound to death like those with markers, so here I stayed. I could have become a vengeful spirit, but instead I strived for more. I learned as you learned, and at night as you slept, I continued to acquire knowledge.
I wish more than anything to embrace you, to have another take the burden, to strive and be the radiant son our Father wants me to become.
You will become what Father wants one day. It will come with sacrifice, but it will come sooner than you expect. I say that with foresight as the day is here, it brings over there.
What is it?
Child points. The prince follows his gaze.
What is it? Over there in the distance. A lone horseman? A scout?
It is death. Death has come. It is the old ways. It is the future. It will gallop as a shadowed plague across our lands. Our Father, he does not see as he once did. Beyond the hill, death marches towards, its eyes fixed upon Father's frail grip on the realities of this world. We still have opportunity to halt the coming army, but I do not have the ability to do as you do, to speak with Father. If you go now, you could save lives. Go!
Prince rushes off. Child watches. Scene 5. We are in a courtyard where the king stands with the councilmen. The child stands with the king. The prince rushes on stage.
I apologize for my interruption, but I've just seen something in the fields to the north of the keep. An enemy force comes this way. It marches with precision. We must act now or we will perish.
My son, how imaginative he is. Older now in the face, but still a child of the mind. He races here to tell us which we already know. You can see it on his face that he believes this to be of great importance. Son, we have seen the lone riders on the cliff. We have our riders who report nothing. The alarms that ring in your head are that of inexperience. You haven't seen as many seasons as those of us in this courtyard. You see trouble in every shadow. But it is just a shadow. Is a shadow not just the self in disguise?
Father, I tell you now that death comes for you.
If any other blood ran through your veins, those would have been your final words. Tell me, what were you doing north of the keep on this day? Your mind has been cast towards the past, to those long since dead. I am not surprised you see death coming.
A child unknown to me, but familiar to you and Mother, is here now. Has warned me of the coming tragedy. Do you not think it wise to listen?
A mind cast towards events long since past has no place to speak. Your mind is sick, overwhelmed by the day. Tell no others that you see spirits, for you will have no rule if you do so. A sick prince cannot become king. A sick prince is cast away and forgotten. Sickness destroys foundation. It destroys stability and grace. I will not give you my ear until you have slept and left this day and its ghosts behind you. Look to the future, not the past. Go.
Councilman enters as the prince leaves. Spotlight shines on him. The king fades into darkness.
This morning, a son, not wanting the responsibility of the crown, now feels the responsibility of the rule. The king, like many who remain too long, has become stale. Those here see him as a great but also on the verge of decay. His riders, who never left the stables, have left him to rot. There are those of us who could lend to the prince's warning, but it is not our place. The tides must come in and go out. We cannot stop them, only fate can. The son, once weak, his stature meek, must take on the burden of the rule.
Exit the councilman. Scene 6. Sounds of war, metal on metal, and loss of life. The prince runs on stage, weapon in hand, stained with blood, out of breath and angry. The child enters after him.
All of this, avoidable, all of this, cause and effect. The cause, an ignorant leader. The effect, a weakened future for me.
You must focus on the bloodshed. If you do not, the circumstances will take your body for itself. The soil will be rich with your birthright, as it was with mine.
Scene 7. Lights up on the councilman. He refills the king's drink, and they celebrate. The prince storms on stage. The child stands to the side.
You fool! You celebrate your insolence? We lost so many because you couldn't listen to me. I warned you. I saw the danger, but you cared more about where I was versus the danger that stood on your doorstep. Generations dead because you are an imbecile. Do you not remember the words you spoke to me? Do you not remember the words spoken to you? Do not forget, because forgetting makes you a fool, and we cannot be fools. You are a fool. You misled hundreds to their death. They trusted you. They knew not of the jester with the crown. Even now they celebrate as they mourn, but little do they know you are the cause of both.
My failure. My failure is my own. It was my inability to see further than my nose. I see that now. But now is far too late. I cannot undo death. I cannot bring back the beating hearts that begin to rot. I cannot continue.
He turns to the prince.
I take this as a sign that my time has come to an end. I have become the fool, a joker with a crown that weighs heavily. This is an important lesson you must learn and teach your own one day. The moment you put the whole at risk is the moment you must step aside for the new generation. It is the only way. It's how we have survived and how we will continue forth into the unknown future, into your future and your reign now. I will not encumber you, just as my parentage did not encumber my rule.
Prince looks away. His rage has become sadness. Scene 8. The king and prince stand on display, the councilman behind them. They wave to the sound of crowds, and the king steps forward to greet the cheering crowd.
I was the death bringer. I brought death to those who chose not to strive.
I am the death bringer. I bring death to those who choose not to strive.
I am tired now. I strive no more. I greet the uncertainty of death.
You are tired. You strive no more. I will bring you to death's door.
I represent your future, you represent my past. A presence interchangeable.
I represent your past, you represent my future. Our present interchangeable.
The king removes his crown and kneels to the prince. The councilman steps forward to the blood-stained block. The king places his head on it. The prince looks out at the crowd, then to his father. The prince withdraws his blade. The child stands with him.
We are the death bringer. We bring death to those who choose not to strive.
Scene 9. The prince and child stand at the king and queen's grave marker.
I strive for more. I strive for a different path, a different future. I strive for what I will never have, but my descendants may have. I strive for choice. I strive for possibilities. I strive for an unknown world.
Together, we will strive when the other is tired. And when your time has come, there will be a marker for the both of us.
Fade to black. End of play. Can I have the playwrights up? Okay. Questions from the audience for our playwrights? Yeah. No, it's quite all right. Rick, maybe you go first.
I'm just curious why, sorry, Anne, why you sort of chose amnesia?
Honestly, I was just trying to find a way to kind of make it hard on Gregory. My first thing was tachycardia, and I figured if she forgot she had the disease, it would put so much more pressure on him to actually make sure she takes her medicine. So I just added to the drama a little bit. But yeah.
If I could sneak one more in for Cordell, have you yourself ever skinned anything?
No, I haven't.
Right. There goes that theory. Sorry. All right.
Allison?
Yeah, so I have questions for all of them. Hi, thank you.
This is
so forever my baby. Just want to let you know I'm gonna be calling my dad after this. But it really really hit hard for a lot of different reasons. Can you reflect on why you chose that relationship with your father?
I was trying to find inspiration for what I was going to write about when we first got the assignment. And I was just having a conversation with my dad about acting and stuff and how it was going for me so far after just graduating, and I wasn't really getting auditions. And he just kind of said, keep trying. And I just figured he'd come a long way since our first conversation. And so that's what inspired me to write it.
Okay, thank you. Time to Rest. The only thing that I would have liked about it would be like a little bit of a warning, because I did have someone in my family with amnesia. Okay. But that being said, is this a personal experience that you're drawing from, or something that you?
It's vaguely based on experience.
Okay. Cordell. What the hell? I just, that's my question. What the hell?
I'll take that as a compliment.
Okay. And last but not least, the Gall. Do you watch a lot of Merlin?
I've watched some of it, yeah.
Okay, because it felt very much like Merlin. I think Robin's the only other person with questions, so thank you.
Thanks, man. Finally, the microphone I deserve. All right. So
just for a hint of information here, these are former script writing students, okay?
I don't know why they let me in. Anyway, for the first one, for the mother and brother, I believe the name was James. Did you make a choice to not have them be dead?
What?
To not have them be dead.
You want them dead?
I mean, not anything personal, I
Oh,
swear. It's
um,
just business. But like practically speaking, because you had this huge division between the
Yeah.
father and the daughter. So what was the choice to keep the mother alive?
Because I wanted to work an angle with it as to why Emma and Frank could have some tension in their relationship. That could be because of the mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For the next, I kind of had a similar question to Rick in that dementia, considering their ages, why not amnesia? Or not, sorry, not amnesia, dementia. Jesus, I'm really managing here.
I mean, I think it could have gone both ways, just like, because dementia is very different for anybody who has dementia. So for research purposes, I feel like amnesia was a bit easier, because like, depending on the person, dementia acts in very different ways. So just like, yeah, for research purposes, amnesia was easier for me to start with.
No, that's absolutely fair. For the next, did you start this off with the plan of making it a horror?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I really loved your visualization. I saw what was going through your brain, I think anyway, really well. So I think you really got that theme across.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Of course. Last one. What an artful writing style you have. Your dialogue is very, very unique. You have a very unique voice for it. I've got to say, I feel like in your first section, you had very interesting concepts regarding death, not just governing life, versus death governing other things, such as the death of old ideals, the death of old theories, the death of opinions. So I feel like you actually have two separate plays here. Not that it doesn't work as one piece, just that you have a lot to go on, like a lot of material. That's all I have to say tonight. Thank you, folks.
Okay, great. Any other questions from any? Oh, there's a question over here. A woman has her hand up.
First of all, wonderful job, everyone, tonight. This was such an amazing thing to sit through. Specifically for the Gaul, as mentioned previously, your writing style is fantastic. Like, I listened to your voice and I was transported. Never once did I feel like I was in 2023. Like, just so amazing. So how have you honed that writing skill?
Honestly, I can't really say. I've written for a long time, so I think it's just sometimes a line comes to my mind and I feel like it can go somewhere, so I just stop where I am and I start writing. And a lot of times music helps me. Like, there's parts of that play where I was listening to a song and I had to listen to it on repeat, so I had the same sort of feeling. So I don't know if that gives some insight, but
no, that's wonderful. Yeah. You did wonderful. Everyone wrote so wonderfully, so thank you.
Any other questions?
Actually, I have a question for Amy. What's the song?
A bunch of different stuff. Like, I was listening to some classical stuff, so I can give you my playlist.
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's a wrap, but we have one more thing to do. So if the playwrights could take their seats. I'd like to bring the actors on stage so that our acting ensemble can take a bow